Hello everyone, hope all's okay. Strange times, but here we are. I thought it would be a great opportunity to just give you a few pointers on putting, something that we can achieve indoors so that when we're ready and back on the golf course, you'll be able to get some benefit from it. So we're going to look at the grip to start with. Many different types of grip used, and you only have to look at the top of the game. Remember, there's no rules on how we're trying to put the hands on the club. So the key function that you're trying to look at with this is to stabilise the face through the impact area and minimal rotation. Those are the two key things. So have a think about that when you're adopting your grip, and that's really the ideal scenario that we're looking for. When we're forming the grip, a couple of things that I like to achieve is to create a palm-to-palm grip. So that means your palms are facing each other like this. That's going to help us stabilise the face through the impact area. In a normal grip, for normal shots, our hands are rotated more this way, so we're in our natural hang position. That's going to encourage wrist action and forearm rotation, which is great for the normal shots, not for putting. So palm to palm is one of the things I want you to think about. The other thing I want you to think about is your wrist position at the address as well. In a normal situation for normal shots where we're creating wrist action, forearm rotation, we've got the wrist angle low like this. That's great for normal situation. For putting, not so good. What I suggest we look at and try out is, you've got the palm to palm grip. I want you to just angle your fingers downwards a little bit like this, so your wrist is just going a little bit higher, your wrist bone is a little bit higher. That's going to lock the wrist out a little bit and encourage more stability of the face going through the impact area. Okay, so in a normal situation you would have your wrist low. For putting, just a little bit of wrist hinge upwards this way to allow the putter to hang. That's going to allow you to control the stroke more from your shoulders. So different grips that are used. Again, as I said earlier, many different grips are used. Generally though, palm to palm, I prefer and use right hand below left, like so. So again, you're just getting the palm to palm situation there, which is going to enable me to control the face and minimise the rotation. Left below right is also very popular now. A lot of people like the feel of pulling the putter through the impact area, pulling the putter through. And that works very well for some people as well. And then just more recently, been trying different things, and there's a lot of research to say, if you struggle and your hands are a little bit active, get the yips, feel really uncomfortable with the stability of the face, then the claw grip is renowned for being very good for this. So that's where you get the thumb and the finger either side of the grip. That stabilises your right arm position there, and in some research says that there's less active with the right hand, so you can then guide the left arm and release the putter through. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. I suggest you see one of the pros if you want to get more detail on that. But it's something to think about at this point. But reference for me, palm to palm, a little bit of arching is a good starter for your grip when you're gripping the club at golf. Grip thickness is something that's changed in recent times, going to extremely thick grips, to take excessive wrist action, hand action out of putters. It's interesting how it's sort of reversed back a little bit with the elite professionals in particular. They've actually reversed the trend a little bit and gone more for slightly thinner grips in certain instances. So that's something to think about as well. Generally, if you want a little bit more feel of and the release of the club head, then having a thinner grip will allow that to happen. So thinner grip gives you more feel of weight of the head and more sensitivity of the shaft and the head, and the feel of releasing the putter. If you like that feel, then you're better sticking to a slightly thinner grip than a thicker one. If you have a tendency to be a bit active with the hands and lose a little bit of confidence because it feels out of control, then slightly thicker is going to benefit you. And then you can go up to, I think in the super stroke ones, they go from 1 to 5 in thickness. My preference is a 2 to allow me to get a bit of a combination of the two. So I want a bit of feel, and I want to keep the thing moving together as a unit as well. But it's something to look at, thickness of grip, get something that's personal to you, and then it's your choice rather than somebody saying this one's going to suit you better. So do a little bit of experimentation and just be aware of why you're choosing a thinner or a slightly thicker grip. Let's look at 3 key things to help you to get more success with your putters. First thing we're going to look at is the aim of the club. And it's interesting when we're out onto the golf course how many people aim ineffectively and then compensate with the stroke to get the ball going towards the hole, or in a lot of cases as well, the stroke deficiency comes before the aim error. So it's an interesting one, and it's really important, I think, to help us become better putters, that we know where we're actually aiming the club face to. A good start point is to work on your aim and then develop an effective stroke. Okay, what I use quite often is the online Stroke Master. As you can see here, this is something I developed 30 years plus ago, and you can see the lines on there. Vertical line like this, and a line horizontal going backwards, and the different lines as well to give us work on the stroke. But the key thing here is you're getting your putter exactly lined on the vertical line. So that tells you, once you've aimed it towards your object, your hole in this case, then you know that it's aimed at the hole. And you get used to then looking down at the putter, which is aimed properly. You could just get a mirrored tile and put a couple of lines on. That will be just as effective in this situation. But it's a good way of working on your aim. Here's a more sophisticated one that I've got, and again, this is probably 30 years old. As you can see, there's a laser attached on the top of the putter. Then I've got a button that I press there. So I practice my aim by pressing the button, and you can see the laser beam hopefully there on the board in the background. So that's another good way of testing. A little bit more expensive this way though. So there's the aim. Might feel quite awkward just to start with, but this is the great environment to work on this. Away from the golf course, straight put, get used to aiming, and then you're going to create new patterns so that when you get back to the golf course, you've already got it in place and your aim is what it is, what it should be, which is aimed at your intended target. Okay, the second key part for me that I want you to look at is the path of the stroke. Okay, the path of the stroke is a slight in-to-in arc on a normal stroke situation, controlled from the shoulders, okay? But let's keep it nice and simple, this. And what I would suggest you use, just to start with, is just a piece of cardboard or like a box or a book, something like that. And we're only looking at a fairly short stroke on this one. So it's more sort of similar, straight back and through, very minimal arc on this. But it's a good way of starting to get used to the stroke going backwards and forwards and getting used to the aim as well at the same time. So the path is really important. So let's have a go. Here's the cardboard box. So just moving the putter backwards and forwards and allowing that to be guided. Nice light grip pressure when you're doing this, and we know that that putter then is travelling backwards and forwards in a pretty straight line on this one, and we know it's going to arc slightly when we move that box away. It's a good way to start getting used to the stroke. You can hear a little bit of a sound there as well. There are many other things out in the marketplace as well to help you with the path of your stroke. Here's one of mine that I still use to this day, which has got a little bit of an arc, as you can see in there. So make sure you keep it simple, but this is something again that I use. So just rest it on there, backwards, forwards, square the face, hold the finish. Once you've done this practice, it's important to get to the next stage as well. Take the putting arc or box away and actually then let this new pattern emerge on its own. So few with the board to help you, or with the box, 1, 2, and then do a few without. So let this new pattern come into its own, and then eventually we'll be ready to take to the course. Okay, key area number 3, centered strike. It's really important that we consistently strike the ball out of the center of the club face. This is to, in an ideal situation, you get an optimum energy transfer from the club to the golf ball, so you're going to get the ball travelling consistent distances. Particularly essential when you're hitting mid-length or long putts to create distance control. Getting that consistency of the strike at the centre of the face will give you that opportunity to create a better feel for distance on the greens. Okay, what I want you to do when you're hitting a few putts here, I want you to purposefully hit some putts from the toe of the putter and from the heel. You'll feel when you hit the ball purposely off the toe, you'll feel a bit of vibration up the shaft, and also this is the putter wanting to open the face when you're hitting it. So you're having to either grip it firmer and you're not going to get the correct roll on the ball. Same if you're hitting it out of the heel, you'll get the vibration up the shaft and the heel will want to close the face by the heel strike. So just do that purposefully, hitting them from either side of the sweet spot, and you'll really get a sense of why we need to hit the ball out of the middle of the face. Obviously modern day putters are designed what they call a bigger sweet spot, so there is a margin for error, but we still need to hit that sweet spot to get that consistency in the way the ball travels along the green. One idea for training hitting out of the sweet spot is when you're out on the course or putting green is to put a tee peg either side of the face of the putter, just slightly wider than the face of the putter. Once you're swinging the putter in between there, then you know you're going to centre the contact. If not, you're going to hit either edge, either one of the tee pegs. Obviously in this situation I've just got a couple of objects, just sat down here, and when the better you get, the closer you bring the items in. So just wider than the putter to start with, and then back through. You could see there I clipped the one on the inside there, so didn't quite get the centred strike. It's quite good this to really keep your focus rather than just popping them in on a putting mat from 6 foot with your eyes closed. Really focuses your attention, and it's purposeful practice. Here's another one that I use. I've got 2 prongs either side of the face there, either side of the sweet spot, and you can see there how this works. So the idea now, I've now got to make sure I don't hit the prongs. Managed it that time. That's really good practice for me, and that's what I work on to get a sweet spot strike and really concentrated practice. So there are a couple of things that you can work on trying to get the ball out of the centre of the club face. So there's 3 key areas that you can go away and work on, and I can guarantee you will be a better putter when you get back. Unfortunately, it doesn't just happen thinking about it. You do need to get your putter out and do a little bit of work, but it will be well worth it when we get back to the course. Have fun with your practice.